Seattle Police Chief Shon Barnes, and that request was answered just like a bat signal. He's here now, and he joins us in studio. Chief Barnes, thanks so much for making the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Lots of stuff to cover in the news, a lot of stuff we want to get to. Let's just fire right away. Let's start with the recruitment stuff. I've been seeing all these stories about recruitment. It's going better than it was. It had been slow in recent past, but that seems to be picking up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we are on pace to hire our 150th officer here in the next couple of days, and no turning back. We're going to continue to hire good, qualified people. I think it's good for our city. The people want to come here and work. They want to come here and be a part of what we have going on in the Seattle Police Department. I think it's great. Because our officers are our best recruiters. They're the ones that's going to tell people whether or not you want to come and, work for the Spike and Jake show. I mean, that's just what it's going to be.
I like this
Spike
guy.
and
I
Jake
like
show.
this
I feel
guy.
like he's got
Changes are already happening.
I don't like
so,
that.
we hear about a net gain of officers because you're still losing some officers to other organizations, other police. What can we do to stop that from happening, to stop the loss of officers?
Yeah, you lose officers for a variety of reasons. I don't think we're losing as many officers to other agencies as we have in the past. I just think that, officers are at the age of retirement, and they should certainly be able to go fishing and do all the fun things that retired folks do. But we're not seeing as many. I think we'll definitely see a higher net. My goal is a net of 100. For this year. Last year we had a net of 1. So if you do the percentage markup,
that's better.
Tremendous.
Yeah, I'd say even 2 would be a massive improvement over last year.
100%.
But 100 would be even better. All right, quick question about how you guys are policing in modern technology age.
Yes.
We just spoke yesterday with Redmond Police Chief Darryl Lowe, and he was telling us that they have this program with drones. And a little bit off the break, you and I were talking about this, but would Seattle be open to something like drones? In Redmond, they can get a 911 call. There can be a first responder drone, which seems like something you'd see in like RoboCop or something. But they have a first responder drone on the scene within 90 seconds that's making assessments. I think he said in like 17% of the calls, they realize that they actually don't need an officer response, and they can cancel that call and label it as something else, which is useful.
Yeah.
So you're not spreading out.
They're also able to witness criminals leaving stores with stolen goods.
They can film crimes in process, and
they
that can help
track
prosecution.
people with a drone. Is Seattle looking?
Can you guys do that here?
Well, we do not. So we do not have drones, and of course, drone as a first responder has been around now for a couple of years. I first heard about it at a conference many years ago. Shout out to Chief Lowe. That's a good friend of mine. He's doing good things. I like chiefs that take risk. But I also know that, being first doesn't also mean being best. And sometimes you want to see how these things are going to work, what are privacy concerns. Every city has a different tolerance for technology. And so we have to see what the tolerance for technology here is in Seattle. But we do need drones. With FIFA coming up, we'll have drone detection systems up, obviously. And some of our partners, especially those that are assigned to FIFA, federal partners, will have drones that are up. And it's just about keeping people safe. Like you stated, being able to see what that call is or what it is not. Many of the calls come out as one thing, but when you get there, it's something else. And it's usually up or down, better or for worse. And so more information is always better than less information in my business.
Here's a question for you. Speaking of the, either better or worse, one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show is Mayor Bruce Harrell recently said that he wanted to expand. I think they did, right? Didn't Seattle City Council vote on that new sales tax increase of 0.1%? That the money for that collected would be about $40 million, and it has to go to public safety, which is fine. That's great. Public safety is great. A big portion of that money, though, they want to spend on expanding the care team, which is
right. We're talking about doubling the number of
right? Well, actually, recently he said it's an unlimited hiring is possible now, based on a new deal that they just worked out with the Police Officers Guild. And so my question to you is, how do you figure out when a call comes in on 911? Because I'm not a big proponent of sending out care team members when you don't know what you're going to be responding to. It could be a very dangerous situation. So how do you grow that program and have them responding as not without a police officer escort and grow those numbers safely?
Well, and effectively,
Is it even a good idea?
Well, it's a great idea, but your question assumes that when people call the police, they're calling the police. They are not. They're calling the actual 911 center,
Yes.
which is no longer operated by the police.
Okay.
And so they have a list of questions that they go through to determine if this call is associated with a disturbance with mental health or substance abuse. But more importantly, are there any weapons or dangerous things involved? If the answer is no, then they'll send the care team, which is nothing new, to be honest with you. We had it at my previous life, my previous job. The officers liked it. But again, for most calls, you go to them, it could be nothing, and then you like, why am I here? Care team could help. Or you could go to calls and it comes out as nothing, and then it turns quickly. But they all have the ability or capability to give us a call or get on the radio or not intervene at all if they think it's going to be dangerous.
Do the officers like it, though? Because I read a story that there was like in 80% of the cases recently, officers were declining to have a care team member join them on their calls. Why would that be?
I don't know if those numbers were 100% correct.
Well, even if it's 50%.
Well, let me ask you this. So if the officer goes on a call and it's nothing, should we not complete the call and just stand back and wait for someone else to arrive? Or should you complete the call? Officers are workers. We're problem solvers. So if they're not having care come to the call, it's probably because they're already there. It doesn't make sense to get to a call and then realize, well, this is something for the care team when you're already there. You just counsel them, you solve the problem, and then you move on to something else.
Sure.
So it's not that the officers don't like it. It's that if they're assigned to a call and they go there, they're going to do what we pay them to do, which is solve that problem.
Is it pretty reliable when a call comes in through the 911? I know it's not police, but that they can make an assessment. Who's ever calling in to 911, are they able to accurately assess this is not a situation where, because care team members are not going out armed, right? They're not trained in any way to engage with them physically. So how do they know that a care team member is going to be safe being sent out to deal with the situation? If it's somebody having a mental health episode or a drug-related incident, how do they know?
There is a simple rule that I always give folks, whether you're a police officer or whether you're a community member. If it doesn't feel safe, don't do it.
Yeah.
And so as they go into that call, if something doesn't feel safe, doesn't look right, don't engage. And that is the rule that have kept a lot of people safe for a very long time. And
use these instincts that we have,
Yeah, look at what you're seeing, listen to what you're hearing. Obviously, if it evolves and they're on the way and now all of a sudden the person is holding a knife or an edged weapon or a gun or whatever it may be, then the situations change. And if you see that, it would be good to have us go there. But, it's nothing wrong with sharing that work. That was an agreement between the Seattle Police Officers Guild and the mayor's office. So they must support it if they were in agreement with having some of that work move over from them to the care team.
Sure. Did you have a question, Spike?
Well, I was going to Chief, a little bit about your history. I know you're relatively new to town, and we're very glad you're here. These days, the competition for law enforcement, and especially law enforcement leadership, is intense. Yeah. Cities have to compete. We talked about losing officers to other programs. We're glad we got you. Your history is you were a teacher before you got into law enforcement. What made you, first off, want to teach? I mean, it's a noble calling. But if there's anything more noble than teaching, it's law enforcement.
Yeah, actually, I think that the two most noble professions are teaching and nursing, to be honest with you.
You failed out of nursing school, so here you are.
Yeah, I saw my mother do that as a physical therapist, and I said, man, that is a tough job. A lot of math, a lot of science, and you got to be right. Like, you can't be, a little bit okay. You have to be right. So it's a tough job. But I was actually a Marine reservist. And there was someone in the unit that was telling me that they were looking for substitute teachers at a local middle school. And I'm like, hey, I command Marines. Like, how hard can it be to command a class?
Little did you know, middle school.
This is like a Major Payne. Did you guys see the movie Major Payne?
Yes, that was me. That was me. So I'm coming down like, hey, everybody have a seat, and no one paid attention. So it was very, very rewarding once you get it right.
Yeah.
Once you get it right, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing a young person fulfill their potential. But
you've just described parenting as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you get it right,
it
feels good.
Yeah, you normally figure that out once they are walking down the aisle. But until then, you're still working on it. But there's nothing more rewarding than seeing them reach their full potential. But there's nothing more hurtful when you lose potential. And that happened to me. Having lost a kid or student to a senseless act of gun violence committed under the influence of a step-parent. And I realized that school for him was his refuge. That's why he got all A's, because he could concentrate and no one was telling him what to do or taking advantage of him. He could eat 2 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and no one would bother him or take food from him. But he was influenced by an adult, and when I lost him, I went to my SRO, school resource officer, if you will, and we had a conversation about it. And from that conversation was, you should be a police officer. We need more people who think the way you do. And I'm like, well, thought all cops thought that way. But no, it turned out to be some great advice. And because of that experience, I sit here today.
So you were, was it a history? You were a history teacher?
Yes, U.S. history. I had 2 blocks of that, 1 block of AP U.S. history, and then 1 block of world civilization, which was 9th graders.
So your insight into what kids need at school, and then that also transferred to, you were an SRO on campus, is that right, for a few years?
I was an SRO for 4 years at one of the largest high schools probably in the country, Grimsley High School in North Carolina, and then I supervised them once I got promoted and moved over to special operations.
Let me ask you a question about SROs. Locally here in Seattle, I think they made a huge mistake. The Seattle School Board voted to not bring back in a pilot program. I don't think they called them SROs. Were they called SEOs, engagement officers?
School engagement officers.
Okay.
Sometimes you hear.
But basically, same idea.
Yeah.
There was even a stipulation put in place because there was community members who were worried that, the officers are going to be disciplining students. And so they said, no. This will be just about protection. We just want people to feel safe. We want students to feel safe, particularly on the Garfield campus where you had a death of a student last year. And the Seattle School Board voted to not bring back SEOs, despite you have school administration, you have parents asking for it. You had some saying they didn't want it, but you do have parents asking for it. What's your take on SEOs in schools, and do you think the Seattle School Board got it right or wrong?
I will always support school resource officers. They are the best of the best.
Totally agree.
Anyone who is qualified can be a police officer, but not every police officer is qualified to be an SRO. It takes a special group of people who want to do that work and want to engage with our kids. And, I have to talk to the community as well, all of the community, right? Not just the ones that love us or the ones that do not like us. And I heard from scores of parents who are worried about the safety of their children. Children come home, they tell it all. What's really going on in the schools, what they see in the restrooms, what they see on campus, who's coming on campus that do not belong. And as someone who unfortunately had to join an exclusive club of police officers or police chiefs who've navigated school shootings, it is too late to make a choice once you are in that situation. And we're not saying that there's a panacea. There's no panacea for anything that I can think of in public safety. But if I can use what little power and authority I have to add resources to safety, I'm going to do that. However, I was unsuccessful, and that's okay. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but the community knows my heart. They know that I have a big heart for our kids, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that they're safe.
Sure.
It seems to me that the opponents to the SEOs in Seattle schools, that they have this perception of what law enforcement is. And what relationship that the kids can have with a member of the law enforcement community. That, to me, that seems like the reason that you should have SEOs, so you can build that bridge to the community and let people know that you're here to serve.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been a bridge building program. It could have been, let's show people a different side. Yes, there are examples where we've missed the mark in policing, and for that I apologize to anyone who's going through trauma. But you have a police chief, you have a department, you have a mayor who supports good policing if given the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I had an SRO on my campus at school. I still remember him walking around. Every once in a while, they'd have a canine unit come in. People got to meet the dog. It was a nice thing, and nobody on campus felt like, oh, okay, these cops are out to get me. We got to know the cops, and it was really great.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is, like, you didn't mention his name, which tells me a lot, because when I talk to people who had SROs, they remember that person, but not their name.
Yeah.
Meaning people remember how you made them feel,
yes,
not what you said or what you may have done. And So for me, that has always been the thing. People go, yeah, I remember my SRO. They could describe him, what he looked like, what he did.
That's
but
exactly
not
the
his
same
name.
for me. I don't remember his name.
Exactly.
I remember he's a nice guy. Sometimes he had a mustache, and
right.
he had a dog with him every once in a while.
Dog always had a mustache. Is there going to be continued efforts to try to get SEOs? I'm hoping that's a fight that we can, or a conversation we can continue to have.
I am always willing to have the conversation, yet I believe that the conversation should be led by those in power. I have none. I'm just a public servant.
Okay.
Speaking of those in power, I got to ask real fast. We got a mayoral race coming up. It's very soon. It's probably not something that you would say who you're hoping gets elected, but unless you'd like to tell us who you hope wins the race.
You want to endorse somebody, you're welcome to do that right here.
I'll endorse Spike and Jake for mayor. Cast your votes. No, I listen. I think police chiefs and leaders, especially those, even those in the federal government, believe it or not, should be void of politics. We should be supporting who we believe will do the best job to create public safety. Obviously, I was hired by the Herald administration.
Sure.
But our department, our officers, we work for the boss, which is the community. No, the community members in Seattle. You are the boss.
You, buddy.
And that is very, very important.
I'm not,
we talked about that. We got to get you back. There's room in my building.
I can't afford it. It's too expensive. All right. Well, Katie Wilson was asked about this. I want to play a quick clip. This is from the Jason Ranch Show. He's a news partner here, and this is what Katie Wilson had to say about you, actually.
Do you keep Chief Shon Barnes?
I want to give Shon Barnes every opportunity to be successful in his role.
There you go. So that's not a yes or a no. That's a political answer, and I'm okay with that because it was a trick question.
She has made statements in the past about, she a few years ago she was all for the defunding of police, and now it seems now that she's running for office, she's less vocal about that. My opinion would be, of the two races or the two people running, Harrell seems to me to be the guy who's more focused on making sure that Seattle is a safer community. I know that Chief Barnes is not going to have an opinion about that right now, but Spike, do you agree or disagree with that?
I think Mayor Harrell got the right guy for the job, and I hate to see the guy who's in the job. I hate to see him turn the page. I think we got the right guy. I think Chief Barnes. I'm glad you're in our city.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm glad to be here too. If I can use this vernacular, I feel blessed. I really do. I get up every morning. I say my prayers. I ask God. First I say thank you. Then I ask him to make me a blessing to others, right? Many people ask to be blessed. I never do that. I ask God to make me a blessing to others because in order for me to do that, I have to be blessed. And so I'm going to do as much good as I can for as long as I can here in Seattle.
What's your favorite part of the city? What do you like best about being here in the Northwest?
Man, it's the views. I have a nice view from my apartment. I got to tell you that.
It's pretty nice this time of year, isn't it?
It is. I love it. I love it tremendously. I really do. But the food is so good. I really haven't had a bad meal since I've been here, which is probably the problem. I need to do a little bit better.
I don't know, man. I think serving the chief of police a bad meal is a bad idea. I think you make it the best cut of the house every time you walk in.
I like your blessing thing. I got to say real fast.
Yeah.
Every morning I pray with my kids that they have an opportunity to be a blessing to somebody.
I love that.
During the day.
I love that.
And I like that you said that. It's very
Yes,
nice.
sir.
All right, that's Seattle Police Chief Shon Barnes.